Good day and God bless you. Welcome to the Bible reading in chronological order. Just such a privilege to have you with us. We thank the Lord for each of you. Thank you for joining us and for participating with us in the reading of the Word of the Lord. I pray that the Lord would just minister to us the things concerning Himself and just draw us closer to Him in and through His Word today. Today we're busy in the book of Job again, and we're going to be going through chapters 41 and 42. And going straight in, we have seen that the Lord had shown Job the mighty behemoth and likened it to the chief of the ways of God because of its humility, despite being such a notable and stupendous creature. But now the Lord shows Job another creature which is just as stupendous but much more terrifying than the behemoth, and this is called the Leviathan. Now take special notice of the description of these animals. The only animals that we can equate them to are dinosaurs, or what we would call prehistoric creatures, even though they were not prehistoric. We can see here that Job had seen these and Job had known these. And we must be really careful not to assign these descriptions to animals that we see nowadays that do not fit the description. We really have to look at it, and what the Lord describes there, that is the true animal that the Lord is speaking about, even though we do not see it in today's world. And this is very important, as some translations of the Bible would actually say that this is speaking about the crocodile or speaking about the hippopotamus. Those descriptions do not fit these creatures. These creatures are much more stupendous, much more terrifying, much greater than these animals that we have equated them to. But when we look at Leviathan now, the Lord equates Leviathan to the king over the children of pride. And it's very strange that the Lord would use these two animals, one to show the chief of the ways of God, of humility, the other one as the chief over the children of pride. But yet there is something to this, and it will take a bit of study. So please go into it if you can. And then we get into chapter 42, and in chapter 42, we see that Job answers God in total repentance. He is just absolutely awestruck after seeing all that the Lord has shown him, after going through this virtual tour of the universe and understanding that God is all powerful. He, in humility, just lays himself before the Lord. And so God tells Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zohar to sacrifice 7 bullocks and 7 rams as a burnt offering, and to ask Job to pray for them, lest God deals with them after their folly. Now, it's very important that we understand what was the foundational flaw in the approach of Job's friends and what was wrong with their theology. And if we're looking at the foundational flaw in their approach, we see that that was led by spiritual pride. They thought they knew God. They thought they had the answers as to who God is and how God works. And so they judged Job according to their understanding. And this is what spiritual pride looks like. And what was wrong with their theology was that it was incomplete. God is not a mathematical equation. If you do right, it doesn't equal good things happening to you. If you do wrong, it doesn't equal bad things happening to you. No, God works outside of time, and God is not affected by the workings of man. The Lord will dictate what happens, and so the spiritual governs the natural and not the other way around. And so God blesses Job with twice as much as he had before, and the Lord cares for Job then in a way that Job can live to a great age and see so many generations after him and live and enjoy, because he had served the Lord with much gratitude, with much grace, serving the Lord with all his heart. So as we close out the book of Job, we want to look at two things. First of all, the heavenly realm. And an important question to ask is, who initiated the challenge? This was God. God initiated the challenge to the devil and said, "Have you considered my servant Job?" Now, what is proved by God through Job remaining blameless? Now, we must understand that Job remained blameless, not sinless. And there's a big difference in that. But what God shows here is that men don't need to be bribed to serve the Lord if they have a true relationship with the Lord. And here, the Lord uses this opportunity. He uses what the devil is going to do to challenge Job to actually show Job more about himself. And so takes this opportunity now to really give Job a more real understanding of who God is, and then even takes it to the next level where he appears before Job, where he actually works with Job and takes him on this virtual tour, shows him the power and the might of God, and all as a result of this calamity that had befallen him. And so then in that instance, Job even got closer to the Lord, saw the Lord, even had prophecies fulfilled in his lifetime, and thus Job grows closer to the Lord through all of this. And then we need to look at a summary of God's response to Job. Now, the Lord does not address the calamity of Job at all in the book. He offers no explanation, but rather takes Job through a journey of the greatness and the might of God through his intricate and perfectly balanced creation and creatures, and the heavens and the depths, through natural phenomenon and spiritual significance in life. The Lord puts the focus on himself and not on Job. We read through the book of Job and our focus is on the earthly realm. This is not what the Lord is teaching us through the book of Job. The Lord puts the focus on himself. And in that last couple of chapters in the book of Job, we see when the Lord begins to answer Job, Job then brings himself to a place where he says, I will place my hand over my mouth. I will not put the focus on me because the focus is on you. And this is something we really need to learn in our lives, that even through calamity, even through success, the focus must not be on the earthly realm, but must be on the spiritual realm. The Lord does not address what happens down here. No, he puts the focus on himself. That is not to say that he is not acquainted with our grief, that he is not with us in success, but it is to say that those things are peripheral to the might and the power and the glory of God, and we should have our eyes fixed on things above and not on things beneath. Congratulations to you for completing the book of Job. I pray that the Lord would bless you even as we would go through the reading today, that the Lord would keep you, that the Lord would make his face to shine upon you, that the Lord would lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. God bless you as you enjoy the reading of the word today.
Chapter 41. Canst thou draw out Leviathan with an hook, or his tongue with a cord which thou lettest down? Canst thou put an hook into his nose, or bore his jaw through with a thorn? Will he make many supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as with a bird? Or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? Canst thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears? Lay thine hand upon him. Remember the battle. Do no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me? Who hath prevented me that I should repay him? Whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. Who can discover the face of his garment, or who can come to him with his double bridle? Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride, shut up together as with a close seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another, they stick together, that they cannot be sundered. By his neesings a light doth shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostrils goeth smoke, as out of a seething pot or cauldron. His breath kindleth coals, and a flame goeth out of his mouth. In his neck remaineth strength, and sorrow is turned into joy before him. The flakes of his flesh are joined together. They are firm in themselves. They cannot be moved. His heart is as firm as a stone, yea, as hard as a piece of the nether millstone. When he raiseth up himself, the mighty are afraid. By reason of breakings they purify themselves. The sword of him that layeth at him cannot hold, the spear, the dart, nor the habergeon. He esteemeth iron as straw, and brass as rotten wood. The arrow cannot make him flee. Sling stones are turned with him into stubble. Darts are counted as stubble. He laugheth at the shaking of a spear. Sharp stones are under him. He spreadeth sharp-pointed things upon the mire. He maketh the deep to boil like a pot. He maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. He maketh a path to shine after him. One would think the deep to be hoary. Upon earth there is not his like, who is made without fear. He beholdeth all high things. He is a king over all the children of pride. Chapter 42. Then Job answered the Lord and said, I know that thou canst do everything, and that no thought can be withholden from thee. Who is he that hideth counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I uttered that I understood not, things too wonderful for me, which I knew not. Hear, I beseech thee, and I will speak. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. I have heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, but now mine eye seeth thee. Wherefore I abhor myself, and repent in dust and ashes. And it was so, that after the Lord had spoken these words unto Job, the Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, My wrath is kindled against thee and against thy 2 friends, for ye have not spoken of me the thing that is right, as my servant Job hath. Therefore take unto you now 7 bullocks and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourselves a burnt offering. And my servant Job shall pray for you. For him will I accept. Lest I deal with you after your folly, in that ye have not spoken of me the thing which is right, like my servant Job. So Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite, went and did according as the Lord commanded them. The Lord also accepted Job. And the Lord turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends. Also the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. Then came there unto him all his brethren, and all his sisters, and all they that had been of his acquaintance before, and did eat bread with him in his house. And they bemoaned him, and comforted him over all the evil that the Lord had brought upon him. Every man also gave him a piece of money, and every one an earring of gold. So the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning. For he had 14,000 sheep, and 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she-asses. He had also 7 sons and 3 daughters. And he called the name of the first Jemimah, and the name of the second Keziah, and the name of the third Keren-happuch. And in all the land were no women found so fair as the daughters of Job. And their father gave them inheritance among their brethren. After this lived Job 140 years, and saw his sons and his sons' sons, even 4 generations. So Job died, being old and full of days. The end of the book of Job.